Well, let's shift gears this Friday morning. Our next guest has made South Africans laugh for over 20 years. This year, he celebrates the 19th anniversary of the famous Blacks Only comedy show. The show, which launches later this month at Empress Palace, is titled State of Disaster. David Cow joins us this morning in studio. It's great to see you. Thank you for coming in.
Good to see you too.
We all need a laugh, right?
You know, I was saying earlier today with someone else, we've managed to find ways to survive as South Africans, but it's kind of always starting to work against us because then we've accepted so much nonsense, and then there'll be a few memes, a few jokes, and then we move on like everything is fine. But things are not fine, you know, but we can't stop laughing. At least we've got that, you know.
The role of comedy in sort of helping us navigate what are, and you're alluding to it now already, navigating what are really serious challenges facing our country.
Because, you know, for some of us, we start by joking. Some of the things were jokes, they're all fun. Now we start just mentioning what happened, and people already laugh. Right? Johannesburg is on its 6th mayor since the local elections. Or at least Dr. Palazzi in and out on 2 occasions. Dada Mrero, the late 3 mayors. So actually on the 7th mayor, the Christmas clothes mayor, who's going to go to the capital city of the CBD of Johannesburg, which is the CBD. And Tshwane had a mayor for a few days. Then he wasn't the mayor anymore. This morning he's the mayor again. Like, I was at a function somewhere, a golf thing, and I get on stage because you go away for like 2-3 days playing programs, and some people are there for a week. And I get on stage, I'm like, oh, Johannesburg, there's a new mayor today. And people thought I was joking. Then I get off stage, and after a few minutes, they've been on their phones. They're like, we thought you were joking. I'm like, no. I mean, I left. I went to Mangaung, Bloemfontein, last year, September, for Makufe comedy show. When I left, the premiere was David. And I came back 3 days later, there was a new premiere, Panyaza. So, like, we don't even have to write the jokes anymore. But that's what's concerning. It's that we're on autopilot, you know. There's so much that's happening, and we just laugh about it. Helps us get through it, but at the end of the day, you go to sleep, there's no electricity, you woke up, there's no water, you know, you're driving, there's no road, there's a pothole, and then you got South Africans that are making videos on TikTok with someone literally swimming in a pothole with a camp chair and having a drink. You know, hilarious, goes viral, but there's no city councillor that says, oh my God, there's a pothole here, let's go and fill it up. But that's why I'm here, I guess, that's why we're here, you know, and we used to do impersonations, do Mandela impersonations. Those are the funny jokes back then, you know. And now, we can't even tell now is this really happening or is this a joke, you know. Videos of armed robberies, and it's crazy. But I think that's because everybody sort of kind of knows now they can get away with anything.
Yeah. By the way, Benjamin asked me to tell you that he's also from Kroonstad. So State of Disaster is the topic of...
So we always theme Black Songlies around. If there were Olympics happening, we would theme them around Olympics. I'd be in a little swimming suit. You know, we've done one called the Sylvester Stallone movie. I forgot that franchise where I had all the guys.
Terminator?
The Sylvester Stallone ones.
Oh, I'm
with
thinking
all the you know, so depending on what's happening in the country, what's topical. No, the one with all the famous old Arnold Schwarzenegger. They've got Chuck Norris and so Expendables.
All right.
Then you know, the poster would look like that. I had a whole army tank at the show. So we always think them according to what's happening. You know, you come to the show, there'll probably be potholes on the stage. You know, and I'm giving away generators, power banks, inverters. This is not a joke. It's not a joke. I'm giving away a generator and an inverter at the show, and a few power banks. So, you know, lucky people who've bought tickets.
So the lineup here, I've actually got the lineup for for last year in front of me. But tell us about the lineup for
so I try and obviously mix it up a bit. We do 2-3 shows a year in Joburg, so I try not to repeat comedians as well. Sfisonen is there again, Sia Seya, Gavin Kelly, Tabang Mhlongo, Titi Chuma, Vafa, which is another, I don't know if he's Indian or Pakistani guy who owns tuck shops, but it's very funny, he goes viral a lot. On TikTok, he's also on the lineup. There's about 9 comedians that are on the lineup. Myself, emceeing the show as well. You know, if we start at 8 p.m. on time, because I will be there from like, I'm sleeping at the venue, literally. You know, and then people will start tweeting me, "We're here. The show hasn't started," and I'm there. People are still walking in, but what I always want to do or insist is, I don't keep people that are there on time waiting for people that are not on time.
Right.
So show will start at 8, doors open at 7, DJ Jaws. You know, it's a fun show. It's our second since COVID, back in our, you know, usual venue. We had to split.
Just tell you you've got your microphone here and you're sort of touching it.
Yes. Is it giving doom at home?
A bit, yeah. So David, when you put together your lineup, you've got a theme for every blacks only comedy show, right?
Yeah.
Do you brief your comedians then to say?
No. So I mean, every comedian in terms of growth. So remember, each comedian is on for like 12, 15 minutes. And generally, as a comedian, if you've been to a show and you did this 5 minutes or 10 minutes, it's an expectation you're not going to repeat the same 10, 12 minutes at the next show. Right? The audience is always repeat. Most of the times, it's fans that follow you everywhere. So just from then, who have I seen lately? Who's hot? Who's doing what? Who's got a new show? And then I take it from there. You know, then I find out who are the new comics. Talk to other comics. That do you think this guy is ready for Blacks Only? Because Blacks Only, it's also 3,000-4,000 people, 10,000 people at the door. I can put you there and you can become the best thing ever, or I can put you there and your career can end because you had the worst 5 minutes or 10 minutes on stage. You know, so I'm also very careful about people that you will think, wow, he's extremely funny. But being on the Blacks Only stage is a totally different experience. You know, the type of audience that are there, the people that are there, the type of material you can do. That can work in a comedy club versus what would work at a Blacks Only versus what would work at a corporate gig. So I take all that in mind. But my job is, you know, even if I had 10 comedians, none of them were funny, I'll still get you to come back to the next show. So I have to make sure that the show is funny, my coming and going and starting the show.
With you? Do they audition with you?
No, most of the comedians I've seen or I know, but I'll definitely, you know, have to see you on stage at some point.
So this is your second post-COVID-19 Blacks Only show.
So we went through we had 1,000 seats away. We could only have 250. We did 2 shows, I think October 2021. May we went back to our big venue, but we can only do about 1,005 people per show, 2 shows. So now we've backed into our sort of 2,500, 3,000 capacity venue. And then we always check, you know, it's crazy because we would advertise a show, you've booked the venue, and then the president speaks at 8 o'clock, and now you can no longer have 250 people, you must have 100 people, you know. So we're spending more money and making less. Tickets are cheaper, people have no money, people are unemployed, etc., etc. It's quite a battle, actually, for now, to put up live shows.
So would you say that this show actually is your first proper comeback?
It's our first proper comeback. It's definitely our first proper comeback. I mean, I went 18 months, 0 shows, 0 comedy. Another 6 months of you can have 50 people, you can have 40 people, you can have 100 people. So 2 years of literally almost nothing normal, you know, about the situation. And it's just harder, but people want to laugh, you know. For me, it's like a calling, this thing, you know. I can't even say I make money from these shows particularly. I pay everyone else. And then I go home and I do it again and I try and find something else. Maybe I can tweet for you guys for some money and put it back in the shows, you know.
This phenomenon of comedians using their pain for the material that they write. You know, what comes to mind just from this week is Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Did you watch his show?
I've watched this new special, And that's the thing. So for me, that's what makes comedians kind of stay on top. And I think for me, it's 25 years, maybe less that 18 months of COVID since I started in 1998, right?
It's before my time.
Everywhere I go now, I get reminded how old I am. And so now we went from, like I said, I was making impersonations of Nelson Mandela, Bishop Tutu, and making jokes of first elections when we were going to vote. I had a joke about voting on the phone. And then got married, had a kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. So for me, it's like the journey of just being me, which is also what kind of keeps the material fresh. And also almost no one else can do that material, right? So no one can tell a joke of being married to a half Greek, half Zulu wife with 3 kids. I'm South Sotho, she's half Greek, half Zulu. I don't know, I think my kids are Muslim. I don't know. So nobody else can say. So then for Chris Rock, he cannot be on stage and act like nothing happened, act like he never got punched by Will Smith, of all people,
His comedy was quite, I found it quite, and it's not surprising, it's in line with sort of his style
especially
of
with Chris Rock.
But really rough.
Especially
really violent.
So if you know Chris Rock and follow Chris Rock, for me, it's Chris Rock, he's back on stage, and this is where he is now, and this is what's happening in the world, right? You go watch Jim Jeffries, his experience, this is where he is, Jim Jeffries tells a joke about, he's been waiting to tell jokes about Greta Thunberg, but he couldn't or wasn't because she's 13, and then he's like, okay, now she's 16 or 18 or whatever, let's go, But then you must be his fan. Otherwise, then you're going to be writing reviews and commenting about shows you haven't even been to, and you heard that I said this about the new Minister of Electricity, or I said that about that politician, and now SARS is going to come and start looking into you because someone heard you say something that they had that you apparently said, but they were not even there. So taking things out of context also is becoming a little bit of a problem. That's why we try, please, no cell phones, don't record. Just be there, enjoy the moment. Because then you record my joke about you wearing a leather jacket, you are in the front row, I'm not going to miss you. And then the leather jacket wearing Society of South Africa starts saying, why are you making fun of leather jackets, or of people wearing leather jackets?
Ricky Gervais on the international stage, another one that's very incredibly violent on stage. Do you find that South African comedians are as sort of cutthroat on that level?
Some still are.
Can we be? Can we be in our
country? We can be. So for me, when I was starting out, especially, performing with your Jimmy Carrs, your Russell Peters, this is like 1999, when I was starting out. They would watch us and go, you can say that on stage. Because in England they couldn't. The American comedians, there's things that they couldn't say ever on stage. Whether it was politics or you can't use the N-word if you're, all those type of things. But we had so much freedom of speech. But for me personally, I feel like we started going backwards, Because once now and then I do get comment or, oh, apparently when you said this about the president, from maybe senior members of a party or what. But they were not even there, right? They were not even at the show. Then it's my personal choice, do I just keep quiet or do I get on stage and say what I think is funny? Because I don't work based on today I want to tell jokes about Cyril Ramaphosa. But if there's a funny thing I can say or joke about Cyril, then I'm going to tell that.
And
joke.
That's true for comedians in general.
That's really what we do, It's not like we are social commentators. We are comedians first.
Yes, absolutely.
If it's not funny, I'm not going to say it.
Well, if you need any sort of motivation to go to the Blacks Only show, David, you are giving away, as you said, inverters. Is it inverters? Power banks?
I'll give away maybe 1 or 2 inverters. I'll give away a generator. And a few power banks, it's random giveaways to just keep us going. I'm even thinking of giving away a kilometer of cable at the show. You go to the Gautrain, they've stolen cable, you put you in your own cable, you get to where you're going.
The next question.
I'm looking for a guy who's selling cables, and I'm glad I've got this opportunity. To just DM me on any of my social medias before the 25th March for the show.
Listen, there's a caveat here. He is a comedian, so maybe just take that with a pinch of salt. David Cow, it's great to have you with us in studio.
Thank
All the
you.
very best with the Blacks
Thank
Only
you.
Comedy Show. And we certainly do need a bit of a laugh.
We
South
do.
Africa.
We need more than that.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
A
No, we
bit
need much more than that.
A bit of concrete and cement.
Bit of service
fill
delivery.
Up potholes.
Absolutely.
Some solar panels.
Indeed.
Yeah.
David, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.